Hello, 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 hello. Hi, everybody. So, as promised, this is an updated version of the MyFitnessPal masterclass that I attempted last week and couldn't get through due to myriad of technical issues and screaming gorgeous children. So, the kids are at nursery today and we're going to do this video properly. I'm recording it live on Zoom and then I will post it to the group. So if you have any questions about any of the content in here, you can either DM me or you can message underneath the link that I'll post this in. Some of you were obviously there live at the time, so you'll have seen some of this content. Feel free to just skip through. Some of you haven't seen any of it, in which case I would encourage you just to watch it from start to finish. So what we're going to be doing here is a look around MyFitnessPal, a couple of quick weighing and measuring demos, just things that I expect all of my clients to do and things that make it kind of easier for you to actually weigh and measure everything. I'll then go on to show you my week's meal plan, and then I will physically track all of that week's worth of food there and then in real time. I'll be doing it on the desktop just for the purposes of this video so that you can actually see what I'm doing in real time. But I do usually use the app, and as far as I'm aware, everything that you can do on the desktop you can also do in the app. I do have premium MyFitnessPal, so I know that there's a wee bit more functionality there in terms of showing the breakdown of carbs, fats and proteins for each meal. But in terms of what I expect from you, I'm just looking for you to hit the desired macros by the end of the day. So that's not really that important. Any ladies who are watching this who are near the start of their journey, if any of it doesn't make sense to you, don't worry. It's probably just because I haven't spoke to you about it yet. So don't think that you're missing something just by watching this. So let's get organized and get started. First thing I'm going to do is just show you the weighing and measuring demos from my WhatsApp app. So bear with me. So I then need to share the sound and we're ready to rock. Okay, so welcome to my messy kitchen. This is just to be shown as part of my MyFitnessPal masterclass, which is going to be during the week. This is just a couple of tips on how to really easily use your kitchen scale and kind of build things on top of each other. So the first thing I'm going to show you is you can set it to 0 with the plate on there. I'm going to be just making what I have for breakfast most mornings. So I'm going to put my Greek yogurt in there, keep going until it gets to, yep, so that's 156 grams. And then I will reset it to 0 before I pour my granola on. So pour the granola on top. This is another tip, is always put your yogurt in first, otherwise you'll put your granola in and it'll look like the saddest little portion ever. Put your yogurt in first, it'll look like a nice, eaty, healthy portion. So pouring till we get to that. Okay, so that's 43 grams. So I'll just punch that in. And I'll show you later on, what I do is I kind of log it all at the start of the week. But that's nice and easy. Or if I wanted to be dead specific, I could actually just take some of the dried pieces out until it's dead on 40. Another thing you can do is, so if we reset this to 0, and I don't measure my kids' stuff, by the way, just in case you think I'm that anal, but this is just an example of kind of switching between the units. So if you pop in your cereal portion, yes indeed, that is what 20 grams of cereal looks like. Oh, put a bit more in. Yep, 22 grams now. And then you could just leave it on, switch to 0, and switch your unit to mils, and then pour your milk in. So you don't have to do this all separately. And there you go, that's 130 mils of milk. So any cereal fans in here, if you're going to do it that way, crack on. Another thing you can do, I do expect you to measure the milk in your teas and coffees. I know that we've got some big tea and coffee fans in here.
So you can just put your coffee straight on there. I always have full fat milk with my coffee. I only have one a day, so I make it count. And I'll just pour in as much as I want. And then there you go. Now isn't that quite a shocker? 75 mils. I do have my coffee quite milky, but if we look here, so per 100 mils is 64 calories, so that's over 40 calories just in the milk in my coffee, and I only have one a day, so that's a good example of how to have a wee word with yourself. And then the last thing to show you is one that our Gillian posted about fairly recently, is setting to 0. So if we set the scale to 0, put it back to grams, and then we know that we want an amount, and we'll just track how much it is. So we set it to 0, then we will put our knife right in.
Okay, this one stopped halfway through, so I need to just skip to the next one.
Sorry, and that cut off really early. So we've put our knife in, and we can see that the scale has gone to -3. And just to be dead specific, if we put it back in, back to 0. So that is how good these scales are. So here is another thing I do that just helps me stay on plan with my tracking. If you're squeamish with raw chicken, then feel free to look away now. But I buy big packs of raw chicken, and then I portion it up to do kind of 2 or 3 days worth of food. And I use my scale, and I'll actually portion it all up and prep it now, so that literally it's all seasoned. It's put back in the pack, it's wrapped up, so that at lunchtime Chris or I will come out. We will scoop up our portion of chicken, put it in the air fryer, and that's it. And I do a few days worth at a time. So I use my scale to make sure that my portions are all between 120 and 140 grams. And then with the ones that are left, I'll usually just either make a quick curry and put that in the freezer, or I'll just wrap it up raw, and just so that I've got bits to refreeze. So these are already pre-portioned. You can see, so if I pick that up, 122 grams. This one, 140 grams. And then these ones are the ones that I've had to kind of make up with. So this is 2 smaller pieces, these together, 124 grams. So I will log all of this, just like I'm going to show you in the next piece of this video. I'm going to log it all, but then on the day I'll measure it again. But it just means it's ready, and I know that I'm not going to be faffing about like cutting and peeling and measuring and all that. It'll be a lot easier at the time. And then this is just another very quick messy shot of my messy kitchen. Just finished doing my meal prep, and what I tend to do is just leave a pile of all the kind of empties for the end, and then it means that I can actually start my tracking once I've finished the meal prep, so I can literally start doing all my recipes. So for this, I won't do it on this occasion because I'm going to do it kind of live with you guys. But so this is all for a meatball kofta curry. Here it is. Doesn't it look divine? But I'll scan in the beef. I'll scan in the passata. I'll scan in the butternut squash, and then I'll remember to scan in the onions, the peppers, all of that kind of good stuff. So that's a good habit to get into as well, is just leaving it all out and then binning it at the same time.
Okay, so we're back. We can close you down now, I believe. Okay. So I'm hoping you can hear me okay just now, just as we do this. It's just a funny one when you're kind of recording this, but there isn't anyone live with to check that you can actually hear me. So next thing I'm going to share with you is just my screen of my meal plan. So this is something that I ask clients to think about quite early in their journey if they're struggling to track all of their food, and especially if they're struggling to stay within a calorie limit or meet their protein target. And that is, find a breakfast and a lunch that works for you and stick to it every day. Now, that's not something that I would expect anyone to do for life, but certainly for the first couple of weeks, it can really, really help with consistency and making sure you are getting in enough protein. So, what I do, and this is just because this works for me, I'm actually very comfortable tracking and amending and all that. I've got my breakfast that I love that I have every morning. I have that Monday to Saturday without fail. Same with my lunch. My lunch I'll probably change up every 6 weeks or so, just kind of when I get fed up with whatever that version is. But I will have the same one every day just for consistency. I will then have a different dinner every day. Most of this I would prep kind of at the time. And then once I've prepped it, just like that video I showed you a minute ago, once I've done the meal prep and the cooking and the wrapping, I'll scan things in and I'll like get it ready on MyFitnessPal. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to create new recipes for each one just to show you how I would go about doing it. And then this tab over here, tab F, is actually just the kind of references that I need so that I remember all the numbers when I don't have them in front of me for scanning purposes. So let's get stuck in. I'm going to now share my screen with you and show you my MyFitnessPal page. So I wonder if there's actually a way. Yeah, I can just share like my actual screen. So I'm hoping what you're seeing at the moment is just what my screen looks like, and it should be MyFitnessPal and the meal plan kind of sitting at the side of it. So this is the desktop version of MyFitnessPal. First thing I'm going to do is go in and create a recipe for what I'm going to have for breakfast every morning. So where would I start? Recipes. I don't want to import a recipe. I want to enter a new recipe. So recipe name, yeah, protein granola. It knows me so well, and it's going to serve one person because this is my one serving that I'm going to have for breakfast every day. So where is the, yep, add ingredient. So remember, if you're doing this on your phone, you can scan ingredients in, but I'm typing it all just for the purposes of kind of sharing my screen. So first thing I'll add is my Greek yogurt. And I have the 0% fat one. And now I have 150 grams every day. You couldn't quite see that in that video because I was holding my phone with one hand, but if I go over, I will go in and kind of scoop out so that I know that I'm getting the exact right amount. Another good tip here is to change your serving size to 1 gram and then overtype the amount of grams you're having. So you can see there, instead of having to calculate, right, what is 150 grams as a proportion of 100 grams, okay, it's 1.5. What I'm actually just doing is literally typing in 150 servings of 1 gram. And in it goes. Okay, so now we're going to add something else. I'm going to add my granola. Okay, so there it is, Aldi honey and seed protein granola. I have 40 grams, so I'm going to change this to servings of 1 gram and 40. Okay, and then with this, I also have frozen blueberries. So, no, that's not the recipe name, Claire. What am I like? Ticking the wrong thing. It's like trying to kind of tap your head and rub your tummy when you're doing things differently from how you always do it. So frozen blueberries. And I will weigh these frozen, so that's why I'm typing in frozen, but I will actually microwave it before I kind of put it in the dish. And I'm going to say, because I have 80 grams, so it's 80 servings of 1 gram. Add. Now, there's something else that I always have with my breakfast every single morning, and that's my morning coffee. So I'm going to add it here so that I'm not, because that's something that I do consistently every single morning. It doesn't change. I never have the granola without the coffee. So I'm going to track the milk from the coffee here as well, because then it's going to just remove an extra step when I come to track that later on. So whole milk. Okay, so this is whole milk, 3.2% fat. And I don't like measuring in cups. I don't like you guys measuring in cups. It's too ambiguous. So I'm measuring it in milliliters, and it's 40 of 1 mil. So we'll add that in. So here we have the breakdown of each individual item, but the main thing I'm interested in, and the main thing I'd like you to be interested in, is the totals. So this is 38 grams of carbs, 8 grams of fat, and 28 grams of protein. I'm actually not sure about that whole milk. I'm not sure that's the right one. So what I would actually do, of course, at the time is scan it in, but I can't do that for the purposes of this. So we are just going to crack on as we are. So save recipe. Okay, I'm going to change this to protein granola 2.0 because I actually already saved it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go into my recipes. There's protein granola 2.0, and I am going to copy it and save it and log it. So this is for next week. So I'm going to copy it to Monday, to breakfast, 1 serving, and log it. And then this is going to be a wee bit boring for you guys to watch, but for the purposes of this, quick tools, copy to today, breakfast, and there we go. So we're doing that straight from here. And then we go into Wednesday's food diary, add food, and we can literally just drop down here, protein granola, add checked. Thursday, add food, protein granola, add checked. And Friday, same again. There is probably a really clever way of doing it all at once, but I don't know it yet. So there we go. There's all of next week's breakfast should be in there. Have we got Monday? Yes, we do. Tuesday. No, I missed Tuesday. I checked. Okay, so there's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So next thing we're going to do is create a new recipe for the lunch, and we know that the lunch is going to be the same every day, don't we? So I'm actually, because next week I'm having soup with chicken and a wrap, I'm going to create a recipe for the chicken and wrap together, and I'm going to create a separate recipe for the soup because the chances are that I might use that soup again with other things. So lunch chicken wrap. Okay, so add ingredient, and as we know from the previous video, I've already measured out between 120 grams and 140 grams of chicken for each time, each kind of day. But every day I'm going to go in and measure it, and then I'll amend the amount for the purposes of this, so that I can get a good look ahead at my nutrition. I am going to log it as 130 grams. But as I say, at the time, I will go in and I will amend it each time. Chicken breast raw. And again, change the unit to 1 gram and 130 servings. Add. Okay. I use the best of both wraps or the Weight Watchers ones, but I'm not really sure. Again, just because, sorry, I keep doing this. Lunch chicken wraps. For the sake of this, I'm actually just going to search for the Weight Watchers wraps, because I know what they're called. It's so much easier when you're scanning it. So 1 wrap, and it goes. And then I'm also going to log my sriracha sauce, sriracha hot sauce, and servings. So yeah, it probably is about 5 grams. Pop that in. So there we have it. 255 calories, of which 22 grams of carbs, 1 gram of fat, and 43 grams of protein. So that is a really protein dense meal. But don't forget, I'm also about to go in and create a recipe for the soup, which is going to be quite carby. So that serves one, people. Save. And then the next thing we're going to do is the soup recipe. Lunch soup. So add ingredients, and I've got this written down in front of me. So I'll just whiz through this. So 100 grams. Quite interestingly here, see it gives you the option for one large, one medium. Again, I would always just prefer that we're measuring it in grams so we know what we're dealing with. Pepper. Okay. This is a bit boring, ladies, but hopefully you see. I'm always terrible at spelling passata. It's just one of those things that I can't quite get right. So 2 of 250 because I know that it's 2 jars. Okay. And I'm now going to go in and add the stock pots. Aldi. Chicken stock pot. And it was 2 pots. Okay. So this soup, what am I missing here? Onions, cherry tomatoes, passatas. The water I don't need to track. Oh, the olive oil. And you'll have seen from my wee picture during the week, like I literally just have quite a small portion of soup at lunchtime, but it helps me get my 5 a day in. So here's an interesting one. Measuring it in tablespoons when it's liquids. I don't like that either. The only way that so if I'm tracking that this way, what I would actually do when it comes to prepping it is Google how many grams or milliliters is in that tablespoon and make sure I put that in, especially for something as calorie dense as olive oil or things like peanut butter, Kat's favourite. So chuck that in. So there we go. We can see the calories in that 2 tablespoons of olive oil, but when I roast those peppers, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so worth it. So that's going to do 5 portions for me because it's going to do me my lunch Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I will make sure it does. So we will save it. So now we've got the recipe for lunch all saved. Go into food diary and we'll just do what we did again. So for Monday, and we see the protein granola is already there. And then what we're going to add is our roast pepper. Look, 1 of 1 servings. And then where is, yeah, why don't I add this first? And then I'll search the recipes. Lunch chicken wraps. So there we go. And if we go down here, we can already see how the day is shaping up. Like my sodium's quite high because of those stock cubes. But we'll keep on building, keep on building. So, quick tools. copy to date, and then we can go in and copy it. Oh, it's not letting me go further down. So I'll just do it manually the way I did a minute ago. Add food. And it's quite intuitive. So it's now showing at the top the two things that I added for lunch the day before. Okay, bullshit pepper soup, lunch, chicken wraps, add checked. And then same again, add checked. And here we go to Friday. Checked. So what we've got now is breakfast and lunch for all of next week, logged, ready to rock. And we can see this pie chart that Clara's always going on about. It's starting to build. And what we need now is dinner for every day of next week. So we go in, we create our recipes. Now, I'm going to create these as recipes just for the purposes of this video. But just to be really clear, see if you're just trying out a meal and you just want to kind of bang the ingredients in, that's absolutely fine as well. I don't need you to do all of these things every week. I just need you to make sure that the quality of the information I'm seeing on MyFitnessPal is correct, so that I can give you the feedback that you need to get the good results. You don't need to do this every time. You can take something from this, you can not take others, but I do hope that this encourages you to put the right kind of quantity and measurements in. So next thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to import a recipe from that Tinternet. Now, this works really well with some websites, but it doesn't work with all. The one that I know it works really well with is the BBC Good Food website. So if I'm sitting signing up, like literally, and I think before I go shopping, I fancy that, I'm going to have that on Thursday, and then I can just put it straight into MyFitnessPal there and then. So I'll show you how. And this works on your phone as well. So you go to recipes, recipe importer, and it is going to ask you to pop the page in, and then you click import recipe. And at this point, you can actually overtype or change things if you want to. So this is already for 2 people, which is great because that's going to do Chris and I. I'll think, right, all of that looks absolutely fine. Press match ingredients. And here we have, it's found everything. It's got a big tick next to everything that it has found, but it's got a question mark next to the things it hasn't found. So what we'll do here is type in sea bass fillets. And I'm generally looking for between 100 and 150 grams of your protein source in each meal. But I know that sea bass can be a bit tricky, so I'm going to just put in, I guess, 100 grams each. So 2 portions of 100 grams and tick. So what it's saying is calories per serving is 848. Now this doesn't look right at all. 9 cups of noodles. So with this one, I'm going to replace just with egg noodles. And I'll put in dry, and that's another thing I'd really like you doing, especially with things like rice and pasta. So if we put in egg noodles dry, generic egg noodles dry, and I'm going to put in, say, 150 grams for both of us. Of 1 gram. Okay. So here we can see the calories per serving comes down massively because that noodle thing didn't look quite right. And always do that when you're doing this as well. Just make sure that it's transferred the information over properly. So there we have it. This has kind of done most of the work for us. And now we just need to make sure when we go shopping that we get enough of the right stuff. So we then we can either just save it or we can save it and log it. So I know that I'm going to have that for Monday's dinner. And 1 serving. Log it. There we go. Okay, so the next thing on the food plan was my butternut squash meatballs. That's a pinch of nom recipe that I really, really like. So I'm just going to go in and manually create that recipe because I have tried to do this in the past by kind of importing it and it didn't work. So I know from previous experience that one didn't work. So let's just kick it old school. Again, remember it would be much faster if you're doing this in real life because you can scan your mince packet, you can scan all of that good stuff. But hey ho. Okay, so curry koftas. Okay, 5% beef mince. We have it. Tesco mince, 5% beef, and I actually shop at Aldi, so I'll select the actual one I had. So we'll change to 1 gram, 370 grams, and that's between Chris and I. Yes, we are absolute grubbers. Okay, so the next thing was the butternut squash. Okay. Don't want cups. Cups aren't good to no one. So it's not giving me 1 gram unless I'm going absolutely mad here. So I'll just change it over here. So 2.5 servings of 100 grams. You see that because it's 250 grams I want. Next thing I'm going to add is the onion. White onion. And yep, I don't want that one because it's only giving me cups and I do not want cups. Ah, right. So what it's telling me here is 150 grams equates to a cup. You could probably go into other pages and it'll give you totally different numbers. So there's a 1 gram option. So I want 80 of 1 gram. Okay. Next thing is passata. Cucina passata. Change it to 1 gram. And it was 300. And the last thing was the stock cube. Does OXO have 2 X's or 1? Never know. Okay, so one of them. And there we have it. So this is the total. So I'll change that for the serving of 2 people. And now we can see per serving 408 grams, 36 carbs, 43 protein. Very nice. I'm also going to have that with some tender stem broccoli and half a pouch of rice. So and so it's 80 grams each. So for the purposes of this, it'll be 160 grams. And then pouch rice. I'll just type Aldi so I know I'm getting the right one. Okay, jasmine rice pouch. Okay, let's put this one in for the purposes of this. I can't remember. I think I'll need to check that because I've not got it in front of me, but I think it's a cooked portion of about 120 grams. I might be wrong. So we'll add that in as well. So 529 calories, including the sides. Finished with all of this. We want to save the recipe. And now I'm going to go to that recipe and copy it. Save it and log it. And that was going in for Tuesday's dinner, wasn't it? So Tuesday, dinner, 1 serving. Log it. Okay, so on and on and on we go. We've got here that I'm going to be doing a chicken stir fry, I'm going to be doing turkey burgers. I'm going to show you how I log this butter chicken one as well. This is a lovely recipe. It's actually a really, really nice one in the Scott Babty recipe book as well. So we'll go to recipes here and we'll import this recipe. Okay, so just like the last time, it's showing us all of the ingredients that it has found a match for, and there's nothing that it's not, well, it might. So let's just get it to do its job. And it's already saying here, 4 servings, 532 calories per serving. Big ticks next to everything that it's found that it likes. Is there any question marks? Yes, so there is the cooked basmati rice. So I would just type in here, because remember I always want you measuring your rice uncooked. So basmati rice. And I know that I'm looking for enough for 4 portions so it doesn't screw up with the numbers. So, oh, why is it giving it in milligrams? That's crazy. Basmati rice, uncooked. Okay, so hopefully, yeah, this is coming in grams. So 75 grams times 4 is 300 grams. Okay, yay, it matched. So that's quite calorific. It's showing 797 calories per serving. I wonder why that is. 300 grams uncooked. I'm not actually convinced about that, so let me just replace that with something else. Just in case I'm going absolutely mad. That's not giving me a gram option. Yeah, it's the same. So I must be getting mixed up. It should probably be 50 grams uncooked per person. Anyway, doesn't matter. So for the purposes of this, it's actually quite handy to have a really calorific meal, because I'll show you what I would do there. So we'll go to save it and log it. And we're going to log this for dinner, 1 serving, and I'm going to pop that in for Wednesday of next week. Okay, so log it. So now I'm going to take you back to my food diary for next week. And all going well, we should have breakfast, lunch, and dinner logged. Sorry, breakfast and lunch logged for Monday to Friday, and Monday to Wednesday, we should have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So this is Monday, breakfast, lunch, dinner, all in there, and it shows me where my calories are sitting. Tuesday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, shows me where my calories are sitting. And Wednesday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, why on earth has that changed to 384? Unless it was defaulting to 2 servings. That's strange. Yeah, no, because it is saying 1 serving. 384 times that by 2. I think it was just doubling up. So anyway, I'm not going to sit and like create recipes for the other 2 things that I'm having for the Thursday and Friday, because you'll just end up bored out your mind. I'm now going to show you what I do. So I would wake up on a Monday, and all of this would be kind of programmed into my MyFitnessPal. Now, I don't want you to concern yourself with what I've got remaining, because I am on what's called a bulk right now. I'm actually eating in a calorie surplus. Do not concern yourself with that. You work towards the number that I've given you. But so I'll wake up on a Monday morning, have my breakfast, and throughout the day I'll be sitting thinking, right, so I have already logged my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I've used up this many calories. And look at how my pie chart's looking. So we know by this point that I like everyone to have everything in the 30s. That's the ultimate goal. If you're within your first month, don't even worry about that. Just try and work on your protein goal. But because we're getting a wee bit more advanced with this, I would be looking at that thinking, right, so I'm actually so far fine. I'm not that far away from anything. If anything, I could maybe get my carbs a wee bit, my fats a wee bit higher, but nothing's that drastic. So what I'm then going to do is plug the gaps with my snacks. So I might have a banana. So if I add a banana, I can tell you that that carbs number is going to go higher, which is going to force the protein down, and it's going to force the fats down. But that's only like 100 calories. So at that point, I'll think, right, so what can I add that has fats and protein? And I'll probably add something like some Greek yogurt with some dark chocolate, or I might add a protein shake with some peanut butter. So having this done early gives me the clarity to know how to plan my snacks for the day. So if we go on to Tuesday, now here we can see that the pie chart's looking really, really different, isn't it? So I've got less calories to add in because I'm already at 1,233 calories, but I know that I'm pretty carb heavy and I'm pretty protein heavy. So I'll make sure that my snacks through the day at that point have got fats in them. So it might be half a bagel thin with some avocado, or it might be some peanut butter, it might be chocolate, like actually not even protein chocolate, it might just be full on like a Kit Kat or a Taz bar or something like that. But I'll go in. So even let's just do that for the sake of this, okay? So I call it a Taz bar. I know it's called a Freddo bar. I'm just an old lady. So if we add in a caramel Freddo, okay, 1 bar, 95 calories. 1 bar, add to food diary. Okay, and we can see that the fat's going up a wee bit, but it's actually probably more carbs. So for this purposes then, let's add in like 10 grams of peanut butter with a scoop of protein powder and some water, right? So here we can see carbs at 43%, protein at 38, and fats at 19. So I know that I need to get some fats in, and in order to even out this number, I should probably keep the protein in there as well. So add food. Peanut butter. Right, so this one's measured in grams. Again, just for the purposes of this. So if I add in 10 servings of 1 gram, that is putting the fats up to 21%. So if I added in, say, just absolute rubbish now, so maybe some full fat yogurt. And again, these are all really extreme examples, but they're going to show you how it's changing. So Greek yogurt. Actually, maybe not even Greek yogurt. Plain yogurt. There we go. It's Greek as well. Doesn't matter, right? So change it from ounces to grams. Say 100 grams. That's quite proteiny as well, but it should at least bring the carbs down. Add to food diary. Okay, so the fats have stayed the same because it's still got carbs in it. But you see where I'm going with this. Or what I could always do is bring down my carbs as well. So that day, I know that I'm having the koftas. So I could go in and think, right, I'm going to have a wee bit less rice with that, so that it evens out. That's more if you're running out of calories, which of course in this case, I'm not running out of calories. I've got plenty of calories to play with. So then we'll go to Wednesday. And there it is, it's all sitting there. And we're at protein 37%, carbs at 40%, and fats at 23%. So what I'm ideally thinking when I look at this is I've not got an issue with my protein, it's absolutely fine. What I'm looking to do is bring down my carbs by pushing up my fats. So I'll be looking at this and I'll be thinking, right, shall I add some chili oil as a seasoning for my dinner? Or shall I add some peanut butter to my granola just to make it that wee bit more juicy and dense? Or shall I add fats in at my snack time? So again, it's our avocados, it's things that it's not hard to get our fats up. Fats are a fun thing to get up. So I think that's us. Clearly, when you're in here as well, like for example, with the rice, if I know that I need to get my carbs down and I don't want to add anything else in, I can literally just go into the manual entry and change my rice portion from 75 grams to 50 grams, and so on and so forth. So I hope that has been really useful for you in terms of saving recipes and planning your meal and putting it in advance. It is a really useful tool. Probably most of my clients at one time or another, when we've been talking about their macros, they've said, "Oh, I thought I was doing so well until I put it in at the end of the day, or until I added in something I'd forgot about, and then it kind of went from there." So planning things in advance is really, really useful. Like physically plotting it in advance is really useful to allow us to see ahead of time where the gaps are. So, as always, if you have any questions, please let me know. If you need any additional help, we're going to be going over this every week in your coaching calls anyway. But I hope that's been helpful, and let me know if you need any more information. Thank you, ladies. Bye.